If you don't do anything different, nothing different's going to happen.
You're watching the Hersh Condos digital experience. And here's your host, Mitch Parker.
Welcome to Hersh Condos digital experience. This is a very special episode. I am Mitch Parker, and I am here with Hersh Litvak. Thank you so much for being here, as always, Hersh.
You are welcome.
Today, we were actually asked by an online magazine called Humble Beginnings Entrepreneurs to answer a few questions, just giving us a little bit about your background of where you came from and the journey that you've been on and how you became as successful as you are today. And so rather than just type out the answers and send it back, I figured, we're putting all this content together anyway. Let's film it. Let's get the audio, and then anybody who's watching can sort of consume whichever way they've done it along this way. So we'll jump right into these questions. Home base for you is obviously Toronto.
It is.
And
I was born here.
Yeah.
I'm second generation. My mom and dad were born here. I've got two brothers. And we are Toronto True Blue. I've rooted for the Maple Leafs forever. And yes, I got to see them win the Stanley Cup in 1967, and they will win it again.
Bold words right there, bold words. Let's give people an idea of why you wanted to start Hersh Condos, and then a little bit about the journey from where you began to where you are today.
So really, it was pretty simple. 29 years ago, I got my real estate license, and I was selling houses like every other realtor. Along the way, I had somebody ask me if I'd ever sold pre-construction real estate. I never had. I sold one that day, and I went, wow, this is just amazing. What a different field and a different way to sell real estate. Probably it was about 6 or 7 months after that, I was doing a building called One Bloor East, pretty famous. It was, I think, somewhere between 75 and 80 stories, and everybody wanted to buy it. We had 50 clients that wanted to buy it, and we were only going to get an allocation of 10 suites, so that was a bit of a problem.
Right.
What I did was think of a way to get the 50 suites I wanted, and that way was simply lining up 11 agents in front of the sales center 8 days prior to the sales center ever opening. As soon as we lined up all the people, the other agents started running down. They were around the block, and by that night, the TV trucks with the antennas, satellites were pulling up, and we were on radio and television across Canada. The builders saw what was going on, and from there I started getting phone calls, and they wanted me to sell the buildings for them. So it was a pretty niche market back then. There were very few people that were really doing that. And that's how it started.
And that's some really unique marketing strategy right there. I'm sure not a lot of people have thought about that.
No, I don't think a lot of people would have thought to line up 11 people for 8 days. I thought, what, someone might think of it, and they might line them up a week before, so I wasn't going to let that happen. And right across from there was the Marriott Hotel. We rented a room facing the crowd, so we had somebody up there in the command post, and we had people, because they couldn't stand there for 24 hours for 8 days, so we had people switching in and switching out, and it just became just an unbelievable event.
Wow. And so in doing that, you're sort of forging your own path in a certain way. There must have been things that came up along the way that were roadblocks or difficult things. Do you remember any specific things that were big challenges when you got started?
I think when we first got started, we were able to get people to buy them, and then we would put in our worksheets to get them, and of course we'd only get 2 out of 15 filled, and that was pretty depressing. So I sort of was looking way beyond having that happen again, and I just said, you know what? Like I mentioned before, it's such a niche market. I felt that I could go take a giant chunk of it if I got in there myself and use some of the marketing techniques that we were great at, and we did. And one of the simple marketing techniques was treating the agents with respect, because I know how I was treated. I know that I was made to stand out in rain and wind and all kinds of horrid conditions just to wait to get these suites. I've never made the agents do that. So I've always looked after them, and from there, we just got a huge following of people that loved us. And the nice thing, Mitch, we were able to change so many people's lives along the way. Today, it's so much fun. When I wake up in the morning, I I love coming into work. It's not work. It's fun.
When a lot of people start businesses, sometimes they're not necessarily supported by their friends and family, right? It's a lot easier, I think, to say, why don't you go get a job 9 to 5? It's more secure, it's more stable. Did you ever have any of that?
Well, number one, I don't listen to other people and what they say. I don't really care. And I'm just being nice because I'm not using any little words that are a little off color. But in reality, I'd like to. I don't listen to what people... Do you think I really care what people have to say about me? I couldn't care less what they have to say about me. All I care about is what I want to accomplish and what I want to do. That's what's important. Think of what you want to do. Make sure you have a burning desire. So that's one other thing, is I absolutely have a burning desire to go where I want to go and do what I want to do. And that's what I do.
Is there anything that, looking back, because it's always, hindsight's always 20/20, right? Are there things that you can say, I wish I had done differently or done better now that you're able to say that?
Probably not waited as long as I did to make things happen.
Which is a great lesson, right? It's that, and you're a big advocate of this, right? It's action, action, action. So kind of ready, fire, aim mentality.
Have you ever heard me say that?
No, I've never actually heard
Okay,
you
well,
say
that is one of my big lines for sure. Okay, it's like ready, fire, aim, and that's what I have done probably throughout my career. In other words, have a goal of where you want to be and just get moving. Like, that's the biggest thing I find. You know, we've run so many seminars over the years, and I talked to so many agents, and, you know, they come and ask me, how do you do this and how do you do that? And I'm happy to share it and I'm happy to tell it. But the reality is they don't do it. If you don't do anything different, nothing different's going to happen.
Amazing business lesson there. Action, action, action.
Go.
Yeah.
Like, you're wasting time, everybody. Stop it. Get moving.
And I think this goes without being said, but what advice would you give somebody who is either a new entrepreneur or an upcoming entrepreneur, whether they're local or international? Would it be exactly that? Just pick something, do it, run with it, and learn along the way?
Take massive action. For everybody that's wondering, they're going to say, I don't have the money, I don't have the support. I didn't have any of it. Before I got in the pre-construction business, I was selling real estate, houses, and I was tired of making the same money year after year. And I find that when I talk to real estate agents, that's what they do. They just make the same money year after year. So I said to myself, I need a plan. I had a plan on paper of what I was going to do. So I think first advice is get a plan down. Understand what you want to do and make a goal where you want to be and what's the timeline. I actually built my business on Visa. There's a secret that I've never really shared with anybody, but that's how I built the business, on my Visa card. Now, I'm not saying go out and max out your Visa, because you have to have enough confidence in yourself to do what you're going to do. So you better be very, very determined. And if you are really, really determined and the word no means nothing to you and what people say about you really doesn't bother you whatsoever, then just go make it happen. I have seen successful agents from all walks of life, ones that could hardly speak English, be phenomenally successful. Moms with 2 kids that were supporting the 2 kids and were divorced, phenomenally successful. Like, it doesn't really matter. What matters is, do you have a plan and do you have determination, and are you going to go make it happen? So the interesting thing, Mitch, is that people believe that it's going to happen overnight. And so, of course, when they put 30 days into it and their world didn't change, they go, oh, wow. But that's not where it's at, everyone. You got to keep going, and then all of a sudden, things start to change.
With that, we want you to take action right now. So this is the end of our episode. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you follow us, subscribe to our pages, like us on Instagram, on Facebook. You can get our content on Spotify, on iTunes, YouTube, wherever you consume your content. As always, Hersh, thank you for being a guest on our show and coming on. Your insight is greatly appreciated and your wisdom is absolutely incredible.
You know what? Thanks for having me, Mitch. I hope this is great and the article is great. Grab it online. You know what, everyone? Go make things happen. Go change your life. It's really, really easy, easier than you think. It just takes steps and then by the time the steps happen, you're running, and life has changed. It's a great world out there. Go enjoy it.
Enjoy.
Thanks for watching the Hersh Condos digital experience. Stay tuned for more exciting content, subscribe to our channel, and make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms.